welcome to the Lounge Life Podcast, where cigars meet culture and conversation. I'm one of your hosts, Big Al, and with me again is Rob.
What's up?
And so we have got a really cool show for everybody today. Um, our topic today is aged tobacco and its benefits. So, um, Rob, what kind of what have you got on aged tobacco today?
So, first of all, let me introduce our guest before we get into everything. With us today, joining us is my good friend DJ. Say what's up, DJ.
What's up, everybody?
DJ is the owner local to me. He's the owner of a local, I would say, cigar entertainment company. He, yeah,
Yeah,
you
that's
like
a cool
that?
way to put it. I was gonna
Cigar
say, yeah, it
entertainment
kind of
company.
sounds
There you
like
go.
it might be cigar related. I might run a strip club. You don't know? Yeah.
He's got a local business. What he does, he's got a booth that he sets up at street fairs and just local eateries, distilleries, and basically he's a retail tobacconist, uh, freelance retail tobacconist. So he has his own company called Area de Fumar out of Toms River, New Jersey. And so he's going to be joining us. We're going to be talking about cigar aging and what cigar aging does. And he so graciously has provided us with tonight's stick, which, if you can see, we're all smoking the same thing. It is I don't know if you can see it, it is the Angel's Anvil 2015. So it's by Crown Heads. It's their TAA offering from 2015. So we are smoking 10-year-old cigars, all three of us. So we're going to light these puppies up and we're going to get some first impressions.
And we're gonna see if they still have some gas in the tank. So before you guys light these up, what do you guys get on the initial whiff? Anything? Initial draw?
Lots of chocolate.
Chocolate. I get I get Barnyard.
You know, it's so funny. So I taught my wife about cigars and she smelled one and she's like, "Why does this smell like manure?" I'm like, "Oh,
And it's
that's such a
Barnyard.
great
Yeah, it's
smell."
that
And she's
it's
like,
that Barnyard smell.
she says,
Yeah.
"No, you wait, you want a cigar that smells like a horse farm?" Like,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, yeah. And she's
Mm-hmm.
like, you guys are freaking weird." But I will tell you, she has learned an awful lot about cigars.
The cold draw is nice. Cold draw is straight hay.
Hmm. Well, we're gonna see if there's any gas left in these tanks, right?
All right, let's go.
Look at the cut on that thing. This Valor cigar cutters, best cutters on the market.
I was gonna say they look like awesome cutters.
They're
Oh,
heavy
they're
duty. I'm telling you, they're heavy duty. They're razor sharp. Everything made in America. They're out of Texas. Uh, Everything they sell, they get 10% goes back to military and first responder charities.
That's listen, dude. You can't ask for more than that. That's outstanding,
Well, upon initial light up, I can tell you that there is plenty of gas left in that tank.
dude. Yeah, for being 10 years old, all these adages and things that we're gonna throw out during
Mm,
this little chit chat. Um, I don't know that all of them are universally applicable. I don't think that
mm.
these cigars necessarily mellow out. And if this mellowed out, um, so I bought this box from a local retailer that Rob, you and I both know um, in Bricktown with
Really? Okay.
a wonderful tobacco selection. I actually
Okay,
bought
I
these
got you.
probably like 2019, and they just happened
Okay,
to have a box that was on clearance that had gotten lost in the shuffle.
all
So,
right. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm gonna go there tomorrow, by the way,
mhm. Yeah,
because I know they have a box of La Mission with from 2018 sitting in there still.
yeah. Well, they probably have a ton of stuff, and I would just like, I want like 5 minutes in wherever their back storage room is, just to peruse. I'll let them have my credit card on file. Just let me wander around and see what they got.
All right, so Al, kick us off, bud.
All right. So let's just move on into the rapper report. So, um, well, DJ, since you're our guest, if you got a news story that you want to share with us?
I do. So, I'm not sure how much you guys have actually been hearing about the generational tobacco bans, but
Okay,
you know,
enough as to where we've reported on it a couple times already. So,
oh really? Okay.
hmm
Yes.
Because I was going to say, I think the last time I had heard anything was the UK was doing a
hmm
tobacco ban, and now Hawaii and Massachusetts statewide are both trying to introduce new House bills. Um, but the wild thing about the Hawaiian bill, I don't know if you guys have seen it or read it.
Mm-mm.
Um,
Mm-mm. We looked at the Massachusetts one, but we haven't looked at the Hawaii one yet.
yeah, so the Hawaii one is interesting because it bans tobacco for anybody born after January 1st, 05, which doesn't sound too crazy. That's like, whatever, but it bans them from buying, possessing, or consuming tobacco.
Mm,
Wow.
And that's kind of wild because it's not like you can't even buy it. That's one thing, You're
yeah,
underage, you can't buy it, whatever, so be it. But to not be able to possess or consume it, um,
that's kind of
that
crazy to
seems,
me.
yeah, that seems like an interesting stance to take. Um, because obviously tobacco is a regulated industry, and it's in the United States it's like alcohol. You can only buy it if you're over 21. You can't buy it for anybody who's underage. I mean, we as tobacconists all go through education on how to check IDs,
Hmm
how to spot fakes. There's tons of websites that'll show you different things on different state licenses.
Yeah,
um, so it's all really important. But I think the aspect of this that I found really crazy was the whole possession and consumption of tobacco being banned as well.
yeah, it's insane. It's like I don't understand why all of a sudden people are getting up in arms about tobacco. Like,
Right. And I
like
mean,
now.
tobacco, yeah. And I do get it, but I also don't in the way that cigars are not consumed the same way that cigarettes are.
Mm.
Um, One, I don't think any of us have the money for that. Two, I don't think any of us have. I mean, seriously, how many of us have the time to devote, to smoking a box of cigars a day?
And
I mean,
Not
it's
me.
funny that you say that.
yeah,
So when I was doing some research, it's really weird. You're talking about like a box a day. I was watching, so apparently, do you know who George Burns is?
love George Burns.
Okay, so
Yes.
apparently George Burns at one point was on the Johnny Carson show, and Johnny Carson turns to George Burns and he's like, "All right, so what number cigar is that?" He's like, "Oh, I think this is either like 10 or 11." And he's like, "Wow." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I probably go through 15 to 20 a day." I
Yep.
was like, "Are you kidding me?" I was like, "That's insanity.
Right.
Insanity."
But it's I guess it's all perspective because how much of it was he smoking at that time? Is he one of those guys that chews on the cigar,
Yeah,
chews on three quarters
Right.
of the cigar, smokes the
yeah.
actual other, you know, portion of it, and then ends up in the trash.
Yeah. Well, I actually saw the same clip. So
Hmm.
Oh yeah, okay.
just recently again. So that's wild. If I have three in a day, man, my mouth is tore up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, I do understand from the perspective of younger people, um, but I caution that with it's probably way more applicable to flavored tobacco and cigarillos and
Hmm.
things like that.
Yeah.
Because, from having worked in a brick and mortar and from now owning the business that we do, I can't say that I've seen a lot of 12, 13, 14 year olds that are like, man, I had a rough day at Little League. I could really go for a Macanudo. Like, I don't know if that like any kids like, oh crap, I'm waiting for the bus. I could probably burn a short story right now. Like
Right.
that doesn't happen. You know?
No, it doesn't.
No, and what little kid? Well, I was gonna say when I was in school, if I had $3 for lunch, that was the amount of money I had.
Back in
Yeah.
my day,
Get off my lawn.
and get
But
off my lawn.
I could
I
either
mean,
spend those $3 and buy a shoe.
right, right. But back then I could get a cigar for a nickel. But you know, nowadays, what kid is gonna pass up candy to go buy a cigar? You
Right.
know how
I
much
mean,
candy they can get
it's
for $12?
yeah. So it's definitely an interesting time, but it's all the more reason why I think supporting brick and mortar stores is
Hmm.
incredibly important. I think supporting like cigar rights initiatives. I think that's all super super important. Talking to your local representatives and letting them know that premium hand rolled tobacco is not the problem. There are way
Yeah,
bigger fish to fry than
of course.
talking about smoking a cigar that's at least probably 11, 12 years old.
Hmm. Agreed. Agreed.
That's for sure. So, Rob, what's on your mind? What have you got for your news story?
All right, so it's that time of the year again where Drew Estate has, within the last couple days, announced that they're ready to do their new quarterly freestyle live event where they announce what's upcoming in their line. I don't know if either of you are Drew Estate fans or have seen the Drew Estate live events before. Um, but so every, I guess, 2 3 times a year, what they do is they have this big live event where they bring, Jonathan Drew, they bring Willie Herrera, Pedro Gomez, and Izzy on to the stage,
Mhm.
and they talk about what's big and bad and what's new in the world of Drew Estate. And usually it is preceded or post-seeded, whatever. So after the event happens, they usually uh during the event, so during the event, they announce a new cigar, and it's a mystery cigar of what is going to be entering their line for, within the next 2 to 3 months. And they
Mhm.
do these freestyle live packs where I believe they're like $50 a piece from retailers, from certain Drew Diplomat retailers. And inside, they have a mystery pack of cigars that they announced, plus a bunch of Drew Estate swag. So, like, I just did one back in October where they announced the girl
Girl
with
with
no
no
name,
name.
the girl with no name Lancero,
Yep.
and they gave you like a keychain, a plastic cutter, a really nice melamine ashtray, and your cigars. Um, I read the email that they brought out, and it doesn't seem like there's going to be a freestyle live pack with this one, which is really weird. But their words on this email said it is a massive announcement that will shake up the entire cigar industry. And I was like, okay, Drew Estate, you got my attention.
Yeah.
Um, And usually you're going to get, they said there will also be updates for future Drew Estate events. Like, I believe they're going to announce the dates for their barn smokers for 2025, which hopefully I can go to their Connecticut barn smoker this year. I'm hoping to go. And at the end of the email, it said, "This is not a show, it's a moment." So, oh yeah, look at that. It's a
Hmm.
Yeah,
fantastic tight burn.
Great.
There's no drop
ashes.
off. This is gorgeous right now.
I mean,
But yeah, so
Well, that sounds
the
pretty cool, actually.
the information is so the freestyle live event is going to be held on Wednesday, February 12th at 7 p.m. live on their Facebook and YouTube socials. So it'll be live and it'll also be taped, and you could just click on their socials and replay the video when you're ready. Um, so I'm kind of looking forward to it. If there's a freestyle live pack, cool. If there's not, that's fine. Uh, I'm wondering, like, I'm wondering what they're gonna announce, because uh, it kind of led with like it's like white and gold. The email is like white and gold, and it had like a red, white, and blue band around it. So excuse me, I'm wondering if they kind of worked that, if that's going to be part of the new cigar or new line, or who knows. I mean, I've never seen them talk like this before, so I'm kind of looking forward to it. Again, Wednesday, February 12th, 7 p.m. on Drew Estate's Facebook and YouTube page.
that's awesome. Well,
Nice.
I'm. I mean, they're talking about shaking up the whole cigar world, so it may be pretty something groundbreaking, or it may be just another line extension.
I don't think
But
it's a line extension. It may be a whole new brand, honestly.
gotcha.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Well, my news story this week is it was actually from last month in January. So on January 16th, the USDA, or the FDA rather, announced the the new rule to establish maximum nicotine level for cigarettes and certain other combustible tobacco products.
Okay.
Um, so, you know, it aims to reduce the nicotine in those products to non-addictive levels. So, vaping products and non-combustibles were not affected. But the important thing for us as premium cigar smokers, they were explicitly excluded from this proposed rule, directly resulting from the lawsuit led by Cigar Rights of America, which overturned the FDA's regulatory oversight of premium cigars. But it also reflects the agency's recognition of the distinct nature and usage pattern of premium cigars, which differs significantly from those of cigarettes and other combustible tobaccos. So that goes back to what DJ was saying, you know, about those generational bands is
Hmm.
these are not cigarettes. Um, they're 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 artisan products that are um, a lot less junk is thrown in to you know to affect this. So it's one of those things where it distinguishes kind of the upper echelon of tobacco products um, from the Hyundais, so to speak. So,
Hmm.
and as always, the Rapper Report is brought to you by Valor Cigar Cutters. Pick yours up today.
Our link is on our
I'm telling you.
Instagram page. So, uh, the link to their Etsy, fantastic. And let me guess, pretty much for what they make, it's a really nice heavy cutter, uh, and it's more affordable than most other heavy duty cutters you're going to find on the market right now. So
Oh, most definitely. I
go
mean,
check them out.
for sure. For sure. So, and I guess let's hop right into what's in the ashtray. So, DJ, since you're our guest again, have you had anything exceptional, anything that stood out to you
Um,
lately?
so when you guys had your Sir Louis guest on, you guys were talking about street meat, and
Hmm.
I was rummaging around for a stick I hadn't had in a while, and actually I found some sticks that I actually haven't smoked in my lineup yet. So I grabbed a Rojas breakfast taco.
Okay.
I
Okay.
went with the Maduro. They have a little petite Salomon. It's a 4x42. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, on one of the colder days, I came out to my little office, which is what I call my detached garage with a
Mhm.
propane tank heater in it. Um,
Yep.
yeah, dude, killer stick. Little Mexican San Andreas wrapper, Nika binder filler, just great little I don't know, maybe half hour, 45-minute smoke.
Nice.
Mhm.
Um, little nutty, little bit of espresso to it. So yeah,
Nice.
great stick. Real
Nice.
real something I'll probably dive into. I mean, their whole line is really inexpensive for the whole like breakfast taco thing.
Hmm.
Um, cool bands, love the band. Um,
Mhm.
yeah,
It's got
definitely
that
something I'll
sugar. That's
probably
got that sugar skull on it, right?
Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
has a
yeah,
Yeah.
sombrero on it. Yeah.
yeah, like super fun, really approachable sticks. I think they do a
Nice.
Connecticut and a Sumatran as well. So you've got something for every palette. It comes in a whole bunch of different sizes. So yeah, definitely stuff I'll try more.
Good deal. That's a company I haven't tried yet with out of the Rojas factory.
Hmm.
So I'm
What about
looking
you
forward to
guys?
that too.
What have you guys been smoking? Anything cool?
Go ahead, Rob.
So I had one of the most earth-shattering, groundbreaking cigars. Um, Fantastic. It was the Tatuaje Escasos, and let me tell you, um, it was. They say it's a limited run. I haven't seen the number of boxes yet, but they're not always readily available. Um, but they made a nice big run for now. Um, so the word escasos means scarce in Spanish. So, eh, it is what it is. It's rolled at the El Rey de los Habanos factory in Miami. So they used their smaller My Father factory to roll these cigars. Um, they come in six sizes, and each of the sizes is a letter: the H, the U, the N, the T, the E, and the R. And it spells out the word hunter in honor of Pete Johnson's dog. So
Nice.
it's kind of cool. Um, but these cigars were meant to be a very Cuban-esque style profile. So very Bahique. Um, it is one of the lightest wrappers I've ever seen on a Tatuaje cigar before. The wrapper is an Ecuadorian Rosado Habano Claro wrapper with Nicaraguan binders and fillers. So you get a lot of hay, a lot of peanut, a lot of cream, some citrus, some grassiness. It is a medium straight down the middle. I had it the other day at my buddy John's shop in Shrewsbury the other day with a cup of coffee, and probably it literally rocked my world to the point where I literally went back the next week and bought an entire box. So, like, if you can find the Tatuaje Escasos, I absolutely, and you're like a medium guy, I mean, fantastic cigar. I like am infatuated this thing with this thing right now.
That's awesome.
Awesome. That's
I'll
awesome.
have,
And for anybody that hasn't caught the latest episodes of Sticks at the Shore, our boy Rob reviews the Boris Karloff from Tatuaje. So
Oh yeah,
oh yeah, that cigar.
that cigar.
so go check it out if you haven't.
Me and DJ both have smoked the cigar. From our first cigar, we've had differing opinions, but we're both going to smoke another one to see if it changes at all. I think, you know, we'll see what happens with cigar number two.
Listen,
Gotcha.
they are a handmade product. So
Of
some
course,
natural
and I.
variation. So
Mhm.
you never know. I'm so glad that it tasted way different for me than it did for you because everything I'm hearing, I
Could have just been
think,
a fluke.
yeah, it could have just been a fluke. I might have just gotten something that didn't agree with me. So we'll check it out.
I've
And I
had that
mean,
with a
when we like I said, we smoke cigars. Uh, we were talking about this the other day with a buddy of ours, and everything from your mood, your food, your drink, the air humidity, the where you're smoking it inside outside, everything makes a difference in the taste of cigars. It really is an amazing thing.
for sure. Well, I have a cigar that I won't name that I did not have a good experience with, but
Why not?
I don't need hate mail.
So let me stop you right there. So before I looked like a fanboy a lot of the time, and I got a really great piece of advice from one of the streamers that I regularly talk to was like, listen, you don't always want to look like a shill for your
Right.
cigar companies. So you because what I was doing is I was constantly posting good, constantly posting good, constantly posting good. He's like, what you want to do is he's like, you want to post the good and the bad to let the companies know if they're doing something wrong, they need to correct it. So I will always from now on call out bad cigars. I mean, and I'm not even calling out bad cigars, but cigars that are just not for me or I had issues
Hmm.
with. So I would go ahead, just let it rip.
Yeah. I mean, if listen, the worst thing that could possibly happen is then you tell somebody that I got these flavor notes, they tell you you're completely wrong and you try it again.
Hmm.
Like, Rob and I are talking about the Boris Karloff. The way it hit my palate, the first like inch or so was red pepper and it just tasted like nothing but pepper. And then the rest of the cigar almost disappeared. So
And for me, it was
was it?
totally different. I got zero
Yeah.
red pepper in my stick.
Hmm. So was it just a one-off, and it was the way it was blended, or was it just the way it was interacting with the bourbon I was drinking? Maybe, and that's why I bought a fistful of them, and we'll absolutely come back to it.
Well, the one that I was specifically talking about was the Padron 1926. And
Okay.
so, again, it could have been me. It could have been the day. It could have been the Sprite I was drinking with it. Um,
I mean that that
you know,
that
eh,
you know.
so
But the
spending,
cigar had a lemon lime flavor to it.
I wasn't picking up any citrus from the cigar.
Hmm.
But like I said, I don't want to disparage Padron because I know they're one of the long-standing retailers in the space, and that's usually the gold standard. That's the bar where everybody else
Like I
measures
said,
from.
if they want enough, if they want to give smoke to like small fry guys like us, I was like, let them. I
Yeah,
was like, they
yeah, I
just
should be willing to take it,
whatever.
but
Listen, if they said you hate mail, print it out and frame it.
that's for
Exactly.
sure.
That means somebody took the time to
Hmm.
listen, but it is what it is.
what is it the wrestlers always say? As long as I get a reaction, whether it's good or bad, if they're booing, it's
Hey,
just as good. So,
Mm-hmm.
well, um, in my ashtray is a cigar that Rob just recently had and brought up. It's the Crown Heads Juarez.
Mm. Great
Um,
stick.
yes, it's a medium to full stick. Of course, Mexican San Andreas wrapper with Ecuadorian Sumatra binder and Nicaraguan and Dominican fillers. So, and it was in a 5 by 56. I think they call it uh, the Jack Brown
Okay.
size. So, I mean, it was great. Again, I'm Crown Heads is like skyrocketing with their stuff up my list. Um, it had notes of chocolate and coffee, like black cup of coffee, and a little bit of black pepper. It wasn't overwhelming,
Mm.
but it was there. So um, I definitely enjoyed that. Like I said, as I am with most Crown Head stuff, um, and of course, the what's in the ashtray is brought to you by Bullets and Brave Cigar Company, maker of these. I mean, high
Move to the
quality.
left. Move to the left.
There it
There you
is.
go.
damn.
There it
All
is.
right.
The bullets and the brass knucks, and then
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. They
and
did a
then
really good job.
there's one with our logo.
And these
To
are
the
all laser
left.
cut too.
Move to the left.
Yes,
Other way. There
there it
you
is.
go.
There it is. Other left. But yeah, so I mean, you could stand on these things, and they're just high quality. And of course, too, our cups that we're drinking out of. He
Yeah. Oh
does
yeah.
all
Yeah, I
sorts of
got mine too.
products.
See? Woo, right there.
So, yep. And I'm having cold drink tonight, and I know Rob had coffee in his this morning. So,
I had
there,
coffee in this morning, and right now it's bourbon. So
yes. Well, I'm having a little Wild Turkey 101 in mine.
there you go.
Let's
What do you
go.
got?
Now I
What do you
feel.
what do you got, DJ?
I was gonna say you guys all did bourbon. I went with Zafra. It is a
Okay.
21-year-old Panamanian rum. Um,
Oh,
yeah, bourbon barrel aged. It is a delicious, delicious rum.
I have Woodford in my Woodford Reserve, just the regular distiller select. I like it. It's nice. It's weeded. It's got great flavor. Nice and
Listen,
smooth and
like
sweet.
there's
Love
nothing
it.
wrong with a readily available bourbon.
Mm,
You don't have to
and
unicorn
some of
chase
the
everything, and
no.
it's not
Yeah,
going to
and
break the bank. That's awesome.
some of the cheapest bottles I love, like Buffalo Trace is awesome. I'll do uh Woodford is great. There's great bourbons to be had for under 50 bucks a bottle. So
Hmm.
I'm a big fan of the Heaven's Door. The Bob Dylan's
Bob Dylan one, yeah.
bourbons. Yeah.
Listen, that whole line is really good.
Mm-hmm. He did a good
So I
job.
You
haven't
guys,
had the double barrel, but I've had just the regular, and it was fantastic.
you guys remember what your first like actual pour of bourbon was? Like the first bourbon you thought like, oh, this is real bourbon.
Oh gosh.
I think mine was Buffalo Trace neat.
All right,
I don't even remember what
So
mine was. It's not clear.
all right,
It was probably Maker's Mark if I had to take a guess,
nice.
which is
Well,
why I'm just a fan of the sweet. I'm a fan of the sweeter bourbons, so I like the high wheat, high corn content ones.
mm-hmm, absolutely.
yeah, I was gifted a bottle of Maker's Mark 46 last year.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So yeah, that was really really good.
I like that.
So,
My
well,
first actual bourbon was
Hmm.
Heaven Hill, the white label,
Okay.
okay.
and it is by no means a great bottle. It is probably the cheapest bottle in the Heaven Hill portfolio, and I still keep a bottle at my house just
To reminisce
because
with.
it's a sometimes it's a fun pour, and you're like, oh my god, I can't believe I drank this. And then you look at
Yeah.
all the other bottles, and you're like, if I hadn't drank that, I wouldn't have bought half of the other bottles in my bar. So
That's
Okay.
right.
it's definitely a fun comparison sometimes.
Well, it's nothing like the Jack Daniels when you're 17.
Oof.
Yeah, no, no,
I didn't say it was good, but
no. Oh God, no. Because half of the parties in our high school all revolved around people with plastic jugs full of stuff. You know,
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
if if whatever alcohol came in a glass bottle, yo, you were fancy.
Mhm. Oh, Mad
Mad
Dog
Dog.
2020.
Mad Dog
Yes.
2020.
By the way, for
Uh,
Yeah.
anybody viewing or listening, we do not condone underage drinking. That didn't
Nope.
happen.
well,
Nope.
No.
back then it was the age was lowered, right?
Nope. Not for
Jesus.
us. I'm
Jesus,
not that
Al.
old. Calm down, Al. I'm not that old. Mine was always
Uh,
21. Let's chill out, all right?
well, that's true. That's true. I'm not that much older than you.
Oh, I'm
Yeah, but
pretty
we
sure
could
you are.
still I think for a little time we were able to smoke in bars.
Yeah.
There was a
Well,
brief window when I would have been able to do that back
well,
in my day.
well, it was smoking age was 18 when I was growing up, so
Hmm.
it didn't change that long ago. Of course, I used to run down to the corner store and get my dad's carton of Durrell Light 100s because they knew us, and I was probably 15 then.
Yeah, no.
Hmm.
I'm not that time period.
All right, so let's kind of get into the effects of aging on these fine cigars.
All right, so let's before we get into that, let's take a look at our cigars. How is it for everybody so far? We have just a recap, we are all smoking the 2015 Tobacconist Association of America stick from Crown Heads called the Angel's Anvil. So these are 10-year-old cigars. These are also so graciously and so humbly provided by DJ. Thank you, DJ, for putting the little baggie together, the little gift pack that we got. We got
Got it.
we each got 10-year-old the 2015 TAA Angels Anvil from Crown Heads.
Mhm.
I believe we got a 2018 La Mission from Tatuaje,
Yeah.
and I believe there's also a 2022
Four
um,
Kicks Limited.
Four Kicks Limited from Crown Heads as well. So a little bit, a little,
Yes.
something newer, something middle of the road, and then something pretty old. But DJ, thank you so much for making
Absolutely.
this episode possible. I
Most
love.
definitely.
I'm telling you, this is what the coolest thing about this community is. Where me and DJ, we trade sticks all the time. It's the generosity and the amazing people that you meet in this community just make all this possible. Like, who can say, one day I'd be smoking a 10-year-old cigar because my buddy gave it to me. And, it's fantastic. I love it. So thank you, DJ. Um,
Most
Absolutely, guys.
definitely. Thank you
so
Yeah.
so
uh
much.
so so let's talk about the sticks first. Before we talk about aging, let's get into these sticks. What do you think so far? I mean, I still think they obviously have plenty of gas. I mean,
Most definitely.
it's
Most
it's
definitely.
I have a full flavor profile still.
Yeah, I was gonna say, one of us talked to John Huber from Crown Heads, and he said that that's what
I
his
did.
worry was.
I did. Yeah, John Huber
Yeah,
was
but
worried. Yeah, John Huber was worried whether or not they still had some giddy up, and I'm still getting a full flavor profile after 10 years.
absolutely.
So,
I mean, I would say probably medium full. It's
oh
definitely
yeah. Hmm.
there's a nice bit of spice. Um, it definitely holds onto your palate a little bit. It's not
Hmm.
bitter. It's not, you're not getting like acrid, tarry taste to it. Um,
No,
Smoking great.
the draw on mine
Yeah,
is perfect. I'm getting the white pepper through the retro. It's a very medium spice. It's not like blowing my face off. Um, it's it's a lighter cigar. I get like notes of like cedar. I get like a heavy cedar note.
yeah.
Um, like a charred cedar. I'll get a little bit of citrus in mine.
Are you catching that cedar toward the back of your palate? That seems to be where mine's kind of hitting.
I get it in the back of the palate. I also get it through the retro as well.
I was gonna say, like, as I'm retrohaling it, yeah, you definitely get a little bit of like that sweet wood,
Hmm.
and yeah, it is. It makes me think of cedar too.
Yeah. But it's like I said, it's a great stick. It's got a little bit of earthiness to it, not a lot.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I tend to be a big fan of the more earthy cigars, and I'm really digging this. And I mean, there's a lot. It puts out a lot of smoke, a
Oh, a ton
lot of
of
Yeah.
smoke.
smoke. I love
Hmm.
that.
But like I said, it's a real nice, even medium. It's something that's very approachable. Um, I like it. I think it's got plenty of legs still, has plenty of life left. And that's something we'll talk about as we get into the topic. So we were going to talk about cigar aging and the effects and the benefits and the not benefits. So
Yeah.
who wants to throw some information out first?
Well, let me tell you guys something really cool about this stick. So I mean, it is an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, right?
Hmm.
Nika binder, Nika filler. Um, it was actually rolled at Tabacalera, and I'm gonna kill the name, La Alianza, which is Ernesto
Gotcha.
Perez Carrillo's.
Yeah,
Um,
EP Carrillo's factory.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's his factory. So it it's kind of got his signature to it in the fact that
absolutely.
it does have a great blend profile. He uses amazing tobacco, which ages really well. Um, so you got to think these are 2015 sticks. Um, the tobacco was probably picked, if I had to guess, and I'm sure you can confirm this with John Huber, the tobacco was probably picked in 2013. Um,
Hmm.
then it has to go through the process of being fermented, cured, and whatnot, and
Hmm.
then the tobacco is aged. That's actually one of the things that Rick Rodriguez did when he came out with the Pilon line, because a lot of the time that's how the tobacco is dried in these giant piles called
Yeah,
pilons.
yeah.
And, the longer you age, sometimes the darker the wrapper will become, the more the
Hmm.
oils acclimate within the wrapper.
Of
Um,
course.
then they're box aged, and they're box aged for anywhere from, a few months to a year or two.
Hmm.
Um, then like Hunter and other people have done, you've got other cigars that are sitting in boxes for God knows how long.
Yeah,
So as long as they're kept humidified properly, you can keep a cigar indefinitely. And this is proof of that. And
yeah. Of course.
I've got a 2014 Angels Anvil. Um, sorry, you guys aren't getting that because I only have one. Um,
Understandable.
but yeah, I mean, you guys have older sticks?
uh, I think so. I have had one older stick.
Hmm.
So from Sanj Patel. Sanj Patel had a just recently has he had a basement pack. He calls it his basement
Hmm.
pack, but he also had a top five sampler. And what it would come with is his top five favorite cigars. One of those cigars is one of his private collection cigars, aged anywhere from 20 to 30 years,
That's awesome.
sitting in a
You know?
properly humidified cabinet, you know,
Yeah. Just
and taken care of. And he just recently had on his website a pack, which it was, I believe, 10 cigars for $110, and they were all between 20 and 30 years old.
Jesus, I would have bought that.
Wow.
They were unbanded. So he
Hmm.
refused to say what blends they were. He refused to say what companies they were. Um, so they were all between 20 and 30 years old, though, from his own private stash.
That's pretty amazing uh to know that there are sticks still floating around
Yeah.
that are that old.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, there's like high-end shops that you could go to in the city in New York. You could still find pre-embargo Cubans from the 50s and before,
Hmm.
So,
Oh yeah.
there's no real limit to, however much you want to pay for a stick. But like what DJ was saying, one of the things you need to remember with cigar aging, as long as it's stored in a humidor of some sort and it's maintaining consistent temperature and humidity, and you rotate them regularly, you could keep cigars for decades and not have zero issues with it.
Right.
Well, the oldest cigar that I have is a 2020 release, um, and it's still kind of sitting. I haven't had it since 2020, but um, I found a local shop that still has a few of them left, and it's
Oh, the
the
crown heads,
yeah, it's the
the
2020
Las
Los
Calaveras.
Calaveras, to which
Yeah.
Rob, you should have one by Saturday.
Oh, let's go.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to ruin that surprise.
Hey,
But
again, the generosity of this community, I think that's one of the
Uh,
coolest things about the cigar community.
it's it,
absolutely.
it's really blown me away. DJ, I'm only about a little over 2 years in, and it blows me away. I've never been in a community as generous as cigar smokers.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
unless you're talking
awesome.
bourbon guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me throw out a question to you guys. Why do you think we age cigars as tobacco enthusiasts? Why do we age cigars, you think? What would you say?
Mm, well, if you compare it to, you know, uh, spirits, everything tastes a little better with age on it because
Okay,
it's not so sharp.
there you
Um,
go.
it mellows a little
Hmm.
bit to to a lot.
Yep. So that's one of the things that I was going to bring up. So when we age tobacco, it mellows the flavors out. And the longer it ferments, it softens those harsher flavors. So that's one of the reasons why we age cigars.
So I think it's important that when you're talking about mellowing and aging, um, how you're talking about that happening is through the oils in the cigar. And I mean, you look at this stick,
Mhm.
it's got a ton of oil on it. It's still got a
Oh
nice
yeah.
sheen to it. You guys
Hmm.
have those,
Yes.
the La Missions I sent you, which
Hmm.
are from right around the same time. If you take those out of the cellophane, you're going to notice that that cellophane is a lot more brown than the cellophane from this cigar.
Yeah, I did
It
notice
is,
that when I took the
Mhm.
cellophane
you
off. I
know,
looked and
you'll
it
see
wasn't as
like
yellow as some of them.
exactly. You're going to see hashtag, yellow cello, and these guys will
Yeah.
have these. It it looks like it's tan, because
Right.
some of the oils have leached onto the cellophane because the cellophane is porous.
Yeah.
Um, but over time, when they talk about the cigars mellowing, what's going to happen is the wrapper oils are going to start to meld with the binder and filler oils. Um,
Hmm.
when John Huber was talking about, hoping the cigar still has some gas, is have those stronger notes been mellowed by blending with, some softer notes in the cigar, and
Hmm.
is it going to take away some of the strength? So it's not necessarily that strength kind of dissipates so much as it just gets cut. It's like if you have a foolproof bourbon and you add a little water, you're not really taking away any of the proof. You're
Hmm.
just diluting it a little bit. So you're going to let different notes come through.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's funny, you're literally hitting on everything. So I before I did this episode, I decided to do a little research, and everybody has already mentioned, pretty much all three of us have mentioned something different. So the flavor, the aroma, and the experience of the cigar changes. It mellows where it ferments and it softens the harsher flavors, and the flavors meld a little more. The wrapper, binder, and filler kind of harmonize together where they kind of all, it's like it's like when you have a pot of chili, I always, when, chili is always better 2 or 3 days later. Why?
Because
Because
all the flavors go together.
it's been
Yep.
sitting in the fridge for 3 days,
Yeah, it
and all the
begins
flavors kind of marry,
to
and
marry.
it's
Yeah.
it's great. And then over time, a cigar can release different flavors that you didn't necessarily pick up when you first smoked a cigar. Like I've had a cigar where um there have been some years where um so perfect example, I just smoked, CAO just released their um what is the new
Amazon
hot one,
Basin.
the Amazon base in 2025. So I bought a bunch of the 2024s when they came out, smoked one. It was a good cigar. I just had a 2024 last week, and the flavors have totally like melded together, and just such a better cigar than when it first released. And from what I'm hearing, the 2025 is on point with the 2023 Extra Añejo that they came out with. Um, so our local, me and DJ's local, has one box left of the 2025, which I have to go pick up a couple now, because now I have to smoke one and then put the rest away for next year to see how much better it gets. Um, so like I said, it's it's all about flavors changing and aromas changing, and even the burn changes too. Like it'll burn more evenly. Like once that tobacco all settles and once the oils kind of settle, it'll burn differently. The draw can be different, because this is a perfect draw. I mean, I perfect example. I went to an event for a buddy of mine in Jackson, and he gave me these what is it, King of Persia's, I think they're called, and it was really tight draw, super tight. They've been sitting for about 6 to 8 months now. Smoked one the other day. The draw totally opened up, so it doesn't, it's
Yeah.
it just makes the difference. We already talked about how. So we already said store in your humidor, make sure to maintain consistent temperature and humidity, and then make sure to rotate your sticks so the same sticks aren't sitting on the bottom of your pile. Um,
Now, Rob, I do have a question.
okay.
Cellophane on or off?
Mm, that's a great question because that's like a hotly debated topic. So
Yeah. Do you know what
here's
the right answer is?
So my answer, what I've got from, so I've asked a couple of professionals. Like I think I had this
Hmm.
discussion with Rick Rodriguez
Yeah.
when I interviewed him. And if the cigar comes with cello on it, I will keep the cello on it. If
Hmm.
it comes without cello, I will not put cello on it. But what I will do is if there's cello on it, I will so if you notice, I don't have an extra cigar handy with me, but usually when a cigar is wrapped and it's cello, it usually has like a little fold over flap. to kind of keep
Hmm.
it closed. What I
Yeah,
will do is I'll take a pair of scissors and I'll just cut that flap off to leave the foot of the cigar open. And so it kind of will soak up that extra humidity into the cigar and kind of, speed up the process a tiny bit. Um, so I will leave the cello on just with the foot exposed. But that is my take. I don't know. Like I said, people will say take the cello on, leave the cello on, take the cello off. Some, especially if it's like some people will say if it's different types of cigars, like you don't want Connecticut's sitting next to like dark Oscuro wrappers because you think it can leach flavors from one wrapper to another. It is what it is.
absolutely. And that's where I tend to go with that, and that's the answer I give to people. If you have the exact same cigar in your humidor, and I do mean the exact same cigar, not all tatuajes, but if you have all tat faustos, you know,
Hmm.
and you want to leave them unbanded, just hanging out, that's fine. Um, but yeah, once you start mixing different tobacco types,
Hmm.
then you're going to end up with a humidor that's all going to start to taste the same.
It's a muddy
I
flavor.
ad-
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
I advocate for leaving the cellophane on. Now, something like a Los Stados, I'd probably err on the side of taking off the paper wrappers because I think that I only think that that has the potential to wick away some of
Some of that
the
moisture.
moisture. Yeah, so I would, if I'm gonna keep those for a long time, I'd probably take off the paper. But again, that's me.
Yeah. Now, what do you guys think can affect aging of cigars?
Well, of course, your environmental conditions, your
Okay.
temperature, humidity, whether it's probably um, an open area or a more closed in area.
Okay.
Maybe even how much, if there's sunlight involved.
Okay. I would also say time, how long you age a cigar for
Mhm,
affects the aging, obviously. Uh, the type of tobacco that's in it,
mhm,
from Connecticut to Maduro to, Criollo to Corojo, to all these different types of tobaccos have these different aging properties. I would even say the size of your cigar too, because if you have
mhm.
like a little skinny Lancero, it's going to age at a different speed than, one of the big, you
Gordo,
know,
yeah,
the Gordo
660.
sizes. Yeah.
I also think it's important, like and you kind of touched on it, but I guess the best way to put this is like what can affect aging. Like, is a cigar ageable? Um, so take something like a Macanudo, Connecticut, you know,
Hmm.
um, or even like a Perdomo Lot 23 or a Champagne. That's an
Hmm.
incredibly mild, very light bodied cigar.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
is aging going to do anything to that cigar? What additional flavors are going to come out of that aging
Of
process?
course. Yep.
Now, if, going back to a Tat Fausto, that's a much more robust stick. And you're going to
Hmm.
notice a lot of differentiation because there's more tastes to change along the way.
Yeah.
So, you're going to have those cigars that, yeah, you might hold on to a really medium bodied cigar for a decade. And
Hmm.
it doesn't have much to lose, and it doesn't have much to blend and
Yeah.
differentiate into something else. So by aging one of these really light cigars, you're probably asking for something that's not going to be happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
You
and,
also
and, and
go ahead.
probably too, um, you're blending tobaccos, say, um, kind of like those light, but say if you had a triple Maduro,
Hmm.
how much is that going to change over time? because there's I don't know if there's much marrying to do with
Right.
similar tobaccos.
Mm-hmm.
So
Uh,
would aging a, just say, Black and M81
Hmm.
triple Maduro,
mhm.
is it going to change a
Right.
ton
Is it going to get
over
more
time?
Maduro? Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And then there's also companies where they make their living off of using pre-aged tobaccos, not even letting them sit like rolled in their aging rooms. Because these
Mhm.
places, DJ said before, they have these barns where they keep all these polones, and they're stacked up. It's where the pressure of the leaves of these hundreds of thousands of pounds of tobacco on top of each other creates internal heat, and that's what ferments your cigar leaves. Now after the fermentation process, they could sit there for a year, 2 years, whatever. They then get rolled and put into these rooms, and you just walk into this room and there's just shelf upon shelf upon shelf upon shelf upon shelf of bundles of wheels of 50
Mhm.
cigars that are just sitting there aging, right? And you
Yeah.
have companies that will make a living off of using these aged tobaccos even before they're rolled. Like a company perfect for that is Ezra Zion. Like Ezra Zion, if you haven't had Ezra Zion before, uh, I'm not a huge fan of Ezra Zion. I have my reasons for it, but Ezra Zion will consistently use 7 to 10 year old wrapper, 7 to 12 year old filler, and then you have like the EP Carrillo that just came out. Their 15-year anniversary has
Mhm.
a 10-year aged Mexican San Andreas wrapper on it with a binder and filler combo that's been aged for 15 years. So they already have these pre-aged contents. How much more will they change if you already have a 10-year old wrapper and a 15-year-old binder filler combo? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, and that's where the flavor marrying comes in. Um, but talking about rollers, when you age a stick, you've also got to realize that you might get something that you don't want because somebody like John Huber or Ernesto or you know Pepin
Hmm.
or really any of these guys, they're blending a cigar and they're tasting those cigars in those wheels and finding the optimal point to pull those
Hmm.
wheels out, cellophane
Legit.
them, box them, and let you smoke them. So
Legit.
what
Legit.
Mhm.
what they're lighting up in those factories and in those rolling rooms is the perfect version of that stick.
Of
And then
course.
you
Yep.
take it and you leave it in your humidor for 10 to 15 years,
Yeah.
what does it
That's not
become?
exactly. It's
That's
not
not what
what they
I
intended.
right. That's not
Mhm.
what I wanted as the master blender in that aspect. So,
Of course. I love that. I love that too.
hmm
Like you are getting cigars, and that's one of the cons of aging cigars, because when you talk to these blenders, and you talk to these owners and rollers, and they taste their cigar blends and they taste their cigar blends, and the cigars are aging in an aging room, and they'll go back to them, once every, what is it, like 3 months, and they say, okay, does it need more time? Okay, does
hmm
it need more time? Okay, does it need more time? Because I was talking to Jonas Santana of Blackbird, and he said, he will regularly check a stick for components and flavor profiles every 3 months while they're sitting on their aging shelves.
yeah,
So that's definitely a con of aging cigars, is that we're not, you as a consumer is not getting what the blender or owner intended on us smoking at, you know, as a cigar.
exactly. I mean, and don't get me wrong, it's really interesting when cigar aficionado will do the connoisseur's corner and they'll pull out something from the '90s and
Hmm.
smoke it just to see what they get. Um, but I can guarantee you, it is wildly different from what that blender had intended that cigar to taste
Oh,
like.
of course, of course. And sometimes, and like you said, sometimes it can be great. Sometimes it could be, you know, it's gone way past what it's supposed to be, and it's just not enjoyable anymore. Like,
Yeah,
um, when I was doing when I was doing research, one of the things is I saw a bunch of number of years listed. Like, they said pretty much the sweet spot or the max time that you should age tobacco for, like in your own personal humidor, is anywhere from, I saw 5 to 10 years. I saw 7 to 11 years. At some point, it just doesn't do the cigar any more good to um age, XYZ amount of time. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
after 7 years, what else, like, if it hasn't changed in 7 years, what's going to happen to it, at this point?
yep.
Right.
I I was on a herf with a couple of people, and somebody said, "I have my entire humidor that's my aging humidor,
Yeah,
and all those cigars are between 8 and 12 years old." He's like, "I'm gonna start smoking them because I've got new cigars that I want to start aging. I've
of
got
course.
cigars that are 4 or 5 years old that I want to start working in." He's like, "And there's always going to be more cigars that are phenomenal now that
Yeah.
I want to give a little time to." So
And
I
it
agree
also
with you, man.
depends on the size of your collection. So, like me, my collection is right now almost at 1,000 sticks. And like I'm obviously not going to be able to smoke them all in a year.
Right.
So, at some point, my sticks are all going to be 2 to 3 years old, you
Yeah,
know, at least, if not longer. I've interviewed people that said you shouldn't age it. Like, I was talking to Eduardo from the rep from Foundation,
hmm,
and what were we talking about? We were talking about I was at the Foundation a Foundation event, and we were talking about because he had just gotten a bunch of boxes of the Night Commander out, which is like their special once a year release. And I said, oh, I have 4 or 5 Senators, which is their other once a year release that they do every year. And right now I have 4 Senators from 2023 in my collection. He's like, I would smoke them as soon as you can, only because he said the Senators were not meant to be aged. Meant to be enjoyed just this way.
see, there you go. You know, I want you to taste what I want you to taste in this cigar.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was kind of doing some research on that, and one of the things that I found that um, was they said that aging beyond 3 years uh, can start to negatively impact the flavor,
Yeah.
which I can dispute that with this right here.
Mm.
Um, but that may
I mean,
not be the case.
like I said, this is fantastic so far. This
I
is
mean,
a
this
fantastic.
this I mean it hits every sweet spot for me.
Right.
This is I mean it's not blowing your head off, but yet it's still full of flavor. It has enough body and strength to you know to still be enjoyable. Um, like you said, it still has plenty of gas in the tank,
Yep.
Yeah.
and
It's keeping up with our bourbons and
Hmm.
most
this rum.
definitely.
I will tell you, it is a tremendous stick. Now, the only bad part is we don't have a fresh 2015 to compare it to see how much it's changed.
Of
Right,
course.
right. But I mean, if it was anything like this in 15, I mean,
Hmm.
hey,
There are also cigars that I've run into that you smoke them fresh and they just don't taste good. just the profile is not good. And with a
Yeah.
year of aging, I've come back to a cigar a year later and been like, all right, this is a totally different cigar than when it was fresh.
Oh yeah. You get that. They call it the right off the truck.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. You'll have a lot of cigars that people do not like to smoke, even if they buy them from, their local B&M's humidor. They want
Hmm.
to age them in their humidor for 3 to 5 months before they even smoke anything. Which again,
Yeah.
you can't fault someone's personal tastes.
Right. Right. And it's all about uh, personal preference and palate.
Hmm.
Yep. And if you know your B&M and you know their humidors, you'll make that judgment call.
Of
You
course.
know.
And this it's weird because, most we can also get into the age old debate of the 70/70 rule, which, at this point, uh pretty much everybody's said the 70/70 rule came about from necessity rather than what people wanted. Because, back in my day, um, they didn't have any other way to keep anything humidified under 70% humidity. They were using
Mhm.
propylene glycol,
Hmm.
and propylene glycol's RH percentage is 70.
Right.
And that was the way to keep your cigars aged and stored is with propylene glycol. But now we have companies like Humicare and Bovida, which, are making your humidity packs. By the
Mhm.
way, if you don't know about Bovida or Humicare, you need to get on this because it's
Yeah, it's
DM
like, what do
one
you
of
do?
us,
super.
and we will preach it to you.
Yeah,
Most definitely.
because honestly, it is the simplest way to keep uh your humidors humidified. You don't have to mess around with liquid. You just
Mhm.
stick the packs in and, just forget about it. And the more airtight the packages, the longer they last. I have some Humicare packs, some Bovida packs that are a year old and they're still perfectly fresh because you're in an airtight container.
Yep.
Yes, most definitely. And I've heard that that's because the age old debate of Tupperware or desktop humidor, which is better.
I
And
don't think it makes a big difference though.
I don't think so either. As long as there's not big gaps, where you have a lot of air flow through there.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
think I think that's, and of course, they say do the dollar bill test, things like that to see how it's
Absolutely. The
sealed.
dollar bill, the flashlight. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
I think we all have
and
those old adages that, they still hold true. And I think
Hmm.
a lot of it depends on, you know, again, a lot of it comes down to personal preference. Some of my cigars that sit in my basement, where, I have a whole other bourbon collection, they're in a freezer chest kind of, like
Yeah.
an igloo cooler type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's airtight. It's got a bunch of Bovida packs in it, and it's got 14 boxes of cigars.
Yeah. And, it also depends on, I think, where you keep your humidity level at. So, DJ, what is your, humidity preference for your cigars that you smoke on a daily basis?
My daily smokes sit at 69.
Okay.
The
Oh,
long term
interesting.
stuff sits
Okay.
sits around 65.
Okay. What
Yeah.
about you, Al?
uh right at 68, 69, somewhere right between 65 and 69.
Okay, so
um
I'm the oddball then. So, all right, whatever. See
I
me,
mean,
I like to keep my humidors between 63 and 66 all the time.
Okay. Which, you know what?
I
63
just
for me, I find smoke a little hot. They smoke a little drier.
Mhm.
But again, if that's your preference, I'm not going to knock it. Now, if you had said
Cool.
75, I would have thrown something at you.
yeah.
Yeah, right. Just leave, shut your podcast down, go away, just sell your
Look,
collection. You're done.
Look at all
I'm
that
on my way to
planning.
your house to rescue your cigars.
There you go. The
Yeah,
so for me, like I keep mine between like 63 is the absolute lowest.
Hmm.
My sweet spot is like 65, 66. And I just feel that they burn cleaner, they burn easier, they burn straighter. Um,
they stay
eh,
lit.
they they stay lit a little more, a little easier.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I would definitely go for 65 over 70, 72 most of the time.
Hmm.
Because now, like I said, we live in a world where uh if you watch, a perfect thing is if you watch, if you guys have heard of, obviously, Steve Saka. He was
Who?
with Steve Saka, exactly. Who? He was on a interview with Tim Swanson of Cigars Daily, and one of the things he was talking about was the 70 70 rule. And he goes on, if you YouTube this, you can find this interview, and he explains it perfectly, how I said before, like, the 70 70 rule was born out of necessity. So the reason why we keep the temperature 70 and under is, do you guys know why?
Um, isn't it for wasn't it born out of keeping the temperature lower to keep the bugs from emerging?
Yeah, so it's to keep cigar beetles under control.
Mhm.
So, some of these factories that have not are not the cleanest factories. You get, they're in, the middle of, South American countries, overseas countries, where, they don't have the, I'm not going to disparage South American countries, because it is what we're not going to do that, but
Yeah,
like,
it,
they
it
just
just it
don't
is what
have
it
the
is.
cleanest, the most cleanest of areas where they work with their tobacco, and they just have an issue with bugs, which is a lot of the time why these companies, these high-end companies, even the big boys, will, after rolling cigars, they will throw them in a giant freezer and freeze them to kill all the bugs and
Yep.
all that stuff.
Yep.
But to keep it under 70 degrees, to keep the bugs from hatching,
Emerging,
Hmm.
yeah.
percent emerging and hatching, whatever. So, if you see a little pinhole in your cigar and you turn it over and you shake it and dust comes out, you may want to check your stash for cigar beetles. So, um, that was the reason why we keep our humidity under 70, our temperature under
Temperature.
70 degrees.
Yeah.
Um, but and then, like I said, with the 70% humidity, it's because, when people were storing cigars, they only had propylene glycol, which sits at 70. Now, like I
Mhm.
said, we have all these wonderful options as
Hmm.
cigar smokers and enthusiasts, that we have these Humicare packs and Bovida and the little gel balls, and
Mhm.
that you can keep it at whatever, whatever humidity you like, stored in a airtight container.
Most definitely, and I I have, I've mentioned I'm in service work, so I talk to a lot of different people in a day, and some of them, if I notice some of them are cigar enthusiasts, I'll strike up a conversation with them, and um, one of them gave me a cigar to try. So he pulls his Tupperware out of the refrigerator and
Mm.
hands me the stick.
Oh
Oh, it's the worst.
no.
Yeah,
No.
so yeah, um, and that happened to be that budget stick I talked about
Mm.
a few episodes ago.
Yeah.
Um, and it just didn't hit me right. So um, so I don't think I'll ever be there, but it's just, again, it's what people perceive, and personal preference.
Hmm.
Yeah. And like I said, with the refrigerator, when you were talking about the refrigerator, um, tobacco, as it heats up, especially around cold, will have a tendency to expand, and you will explode cigars left and right if you go from a refrigerator to directly to lighting a cigar up.
Hmm. Well, and
Especially those thinner Connecticut's. The Connecticut's tend to be a thinner, more delicate wrapper, which is why, they have to be handled a little more carefully. Um, a lot of the more rough and tumble cigars, like the Pennsylvania broadleafs, the Connecticut broadleafs, have like a thicker, more pliable wrapper where
Mm,
a lot of the times they will stand up to it. It's not something you want to, it's not something you want to try out, you know?
yeah. Well, and this particular gentleman is a big golfer, so there's a part of me that wondered, and I never asked him. But it's like, hey, and he throws 6 or 8 in his bag, and that way, if he has to drop one or if somebody wants one, he just hands them off. But wondered if that was to try to kind of even it out, or if he gives it time to kind of reacclimate before he does light them up.
Mm.
Hmm.
So I do want to ask you guys because, we're talking about cigar aging. There is a natural topic that comes up. Um,
Mm.
one of my favorite topics that everybody talks about in every forum is plume.
Oh
Oh,
God.
It's
All right.
mold. Your cigar is
It's
mold.
is moldy. Yeah.
so it's funny because I just had this conversation with a friend of mine the other day. This band's not gonna come off in one piece, is it? Nope.
It's not. It's a beautiful band, and I hated to ruin it because I'm a band guy. But yeah, it kind of
All right.
kind of
Well, I
kind of
got
So
most
rips.
of it.
while
All right.
while you guys are peeling off your bands, um, for any of your listeners that might be confused as to what plume is versus bloom, or mold, the running joke is that if you age a cigar, um, some of the oils could potentially crystallize on the outside of the wrapper.
Hmm.
At that point, you have the ability to see these little like white wisps that are very easily brushed off the cigar. You can probably blow them off. Um, and the thinking is that's the sign of a well aged cigar.
Hmm.
I don't actually think that. I think that that means that your cigar might actually be drying out a little bit because
Hmm.
if those oils are not migrating into the cigar and instead they're coming to the surface and drying out, now your cigar is losing flavor.
Of
Um,
course.
so that's probably not as great as you think it is. What a lot of guys will do is you'll see photos of a humidor and the cigar will be kind of fuzzy, kind of splotchy, and they'll say, "Hey, look at all this plume." And then we're like, "Hey, you need to throw those cigars away."
Yeah, you need to throw those cigars away. And
Yeah.
then they're like, "Oh, well, just cut into the cigar, and
Yeah,
if it's not in the foot, then you're okay. Just brush it
yeah,
off."
no,
Nah, I'm good.
I do not want to smoke any moldy cigars from your humidor, my friend.
No. Well, and for people that don't know, and of course, this is kind of a question that I've had when somebody talks about a cigar having tooth.
Hmm.
Um, could they mistake that for plume or
I
for
don't think
mold?
so. I'll take this one. So this it's easy. When you look at um especially Mexican San Andreas wrappers will get it a lot, especially nice aged Mexican San Andreas wrappers. The difference between you could tell the difference between like a plume or a mold and tooth because if you look at your cigar wrapper up close, it looks like just dots, but the same
Mhm.
color as the wrapper. But if you run your finger along it, it almost feels like sandpaper.
Okay,
That is nice tooth. And then when you
gotcha.
burn it, when you burn it, if you look on your ash, you'll see these tiny little white balls.
Mhm.
That is, oil pockets that have formed underneath the wrapper between the wrapper and the binder.
Gotcha.
And that is considered tooth. And tooth, when you have a toothy wrapper, that is just I'm gonna use one uh Guy Fieri. That's Flavortown right there. So
I would agree. I've
tooth
noticed that, and of
tooth
course,
on a
didn't.
wrapper is amazing. I'll tell you some of my favorite cigars have a ton of toothy wrappers. Like one of the
Mhm.
toothiest cigars I've ever smoked was the El Pulpo by Artesano del Tobacco, which is rolled by AJ Fernandez. And if you look at that wrapper, it is just straight black sandpaper. And you light that sucker up, and it's got all these nice little white balls.
Mhm.
Um, it is just a fantastically flavorful wrapper. It's sweetness. Same thing with if you ever heard of Domain cigars, Domain has a Mexican San Andreas stick that is one of the most toothy sticks I've ever smoked, and it is absolutely freaking delicious.
Well, and we've talked about the Herrera Esteli, the Brazilian
Hmm.
Maduro.
Yeah.
That's one that I've noticed that on.
You tend to get them with the darker wrappers. Um, I don't really recall seeing tooth on like a Connecticut stick. Unless
Yeah.
DJ, you've seen it before.
I have
I
not.
like
I
you
have
don't
not.
you
I have not found a toothy Connecticut wrapper.
so it tends to happen with the more the Maduro wrapper sticks.
Well, and that's probably because it tends to be a more oily wrapper in
Well,
general,
that
correct?
and tooth comes from the way it's grown. So you want something that's been exposed to, more sun. It's had time to, pull more out of the soil. You're,
Hmm.
you know, the leave's going to work harder and it's almost going to build a little bit more character into it.
Nice.
Yeah, if you go into your B&M's humidor and you can just hold it up and you can tell that that
Hmm.
sucker's going to have tooth on it, that's a great pick.
Well, and I
Mm.
know lounge etiquette is something that we may talk about on a later show, but
Oh, we will. We will.
um, you know, my personal preference is if I'm going into the lounge, even if I bring my own sticks, I'm gonna buy something just to make sure that I'm supporting that that the lounge, and even if the sticks that I'm smoking came from the lounge.
Hmm.
I just if I walk in, I want to make sure I spend some money with them and show some loyalty.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
listen, that's a huge part of the culture, you know?
Yeah. So, but to tie that back to the aging part, some people may want to bring their own and then purchase some to age later. And
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I usually roll in, buy my sticks, come out, sit down, snip them, light them up, and go.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But that may be after this conversation. That might be something that I do is maybe bring some from home, but still pick up to make sure I'm supporting my people.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I gotta say, this stick has sweetened a little bit.
Oh yeah. It's absolutely towards the end of it. This last third is so nice. And you said it's a Habano, right? You said it's a
It is
Habano wrapper.
Ecuadorian
So
Habano.
Mhm.
so Habano tends to be on the spicier side. Habano is can be inherently more spicy. When you hear Habano, you get that, you just imagine that spiciness. It is right now, I'm sitting at like a medium spice level, and it is
Hmm.
Mhm.
fantastic. It is a
Yeah,
fantastic spice level right now. So
I got a.
I could definitely tell the spiciness has kind of calmed down in this a little bit and made it a little more sweeter than a little more than spicy.
Mhm. I feel like the spice has changed to like an earthy note,
Mhm.
and at one point I almost got like a buttery taste.
Yeah. I got
Yeah.
I will normally get when I smoke Habano wrappers, I will usually get like a black pepper note. With this right now, I get more of like a milder white pepper note than
Hmm.
the kind of harsher,
Mhm.
spicier black pepper notes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, and normally as you get toward the end, most cigars get the spice builds and builds and builds, and that's the spiciest part of the cigar is right there at the end.
Hmm.
And this is a nice change to have it, and even on the front end there was spice, but a lot of sweetness, and
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
and then toward the middle it kind of ramped up, and the flavor evolved and changed, and then it's evolved again to back to that, like you said, that earthy with
Yeah,
some sweetness on top of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting like a
So
nice. I'm getting like a nice coffee-ish flavor at the end, or like a nice dark
Mm. Okay.
espresso.
Ooh, I did not get that yet. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
It's so good. I
Oh,
I
this
love.
is
I will
this is
consistently.
great.
So like talking about companies, like you said, some people will come out with cigars that they've pre-aged. Like I said, I was talking about the Carrillo 15-year anniversary, which just dropped,
Oh
I believe,
yeah.
last year, which
Mm-hmm.
has, like I said, they pre-aged their wrapper 10 years. They pre-aged their binder filler combo for 15 years. But then you have like the Pravada model
Mm-hmm.
where, they will, like, perfect example, Pravada this year. So if anybody doesn't know what LCA is, LCA stands for the Limited Cigar Association, and what they do is it's an arm of the Pravada Cigar Club, and basically what they do is they go and they search out aged, limited, and rare sticks, and they release them in packs per month. And they do an LCA drop, which is every month they will drop two sticks, a regular LCA drop, and then an LCA plus, where they will take cigars and they will re-release them after sitting and aging. Like, perfect example, this month, the February, which actually gets released tomorrow. I know some shops have kind of released it already, because the shop in Pennsylvania I go to has already made theirs available for sale. But um, the Limited Cigar Association regular drop for February is the Cavalier Cigars Odd Job, which is which is um a re-release. It's not a new blend. It's literally the same cigars that were released 3 years ago that have been sitting in an aging room and are now releasing after 3 years of aging in somebody's aging room. So if you get a chance to go get the odd job from LCA, um, I mean, I can't wait. I'm working tomorrow at the lounge, and I know we get the LCA drops, and I cannot wait to smoke this Cavalier odd job tomorrow. I'm like so looking forward to it.
Dude, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, that sounds
And
uh
what's the blend on it? Do you know?
What's that?
What's the blend on it?
The blend on it? I don't have uh my phone is recording, but I'm not exactly sure. See if Al, do you have your phone
Well,
available?
I do.
well, more importantly, we're gonna have a stick to the shore review of it.
We can. I mean,
Ooh.
I would do it. I mean, my next review is going to be the Sanj Patel, the gas station sushi.
Ah, all right. I have one of those too. Friend gifted it to me.
Yeah, I know. I wonder who it was.
Uh,
Have you found it yet?
I have. Um, let's see. It just says features Nicaraguan, Honduran, and Paraguayan tobaccos.
Wow,
Let's
tobacco
see.
from Paraguay. You don't see that a lot.
Mm-mm.
Hmm.
I love Honduran
Yeah.
tobacco too. I'm in a really
Mm-hmm.
big like Honduran kick right now. I love like Aladino, the Honduran Corojo. Oh my God, it's fantastic.
Oh, but check out this fun fact. It's inspired um, by the James Bond franchise's Goldfinger
Yeah, odd
film.
job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
odd job. Yeah, the guy with the hat.
So, ah, there you go. Light came on. 6 by 52. Um, okay, let's see here. wrapper of Viso priming from Nicaragua's Jalapa region,
Okay.
complemented by Honduran Habano binder and fillers from Nicaragua, Paraguay, and Honduras.
Okay.
I do love a jalapa cigar.
One of my favorites is I always love cigars with omotepe in it.
Okay.
It's just got a different bit,
Hmm.
a different little bit of flavor in it. Um, if you one of my favorite omotepe cigars, if you could find them, is from Dissident, the Molotov.
Hmm.
So it's a really good cigar. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm like, I'm digging this cigar. I'm having a blast. I'm happy DJ came on and hung out with us tonight.
Yes, thank you very much. It's
Absolutely, guys.
I appreciate your generosity. This is an awesome stick.
We are we'd love to have you on again and talk about things and chat and maybe we'll have you on. DJ is a big bourbon guy, so maybe we could have you on for like a pairing night where we can have you
Hmm.
on and we can talk about different types of wrappers and what we would pair them with, whether it be like different
Ooh.
types of bourbon or different types of rums or so that'd be kind of like an I would love to hear your thoughts on that because I'm not the big bourbon guy. I have 10, maybe 10 bottles, 15 bottles, but uh you know I just got introduced to a brand new collection of gentlemen and ladies who are the Smoke and Dram Society, where these guys know
Hmm.
way more about bourbon than I do, and and it's just great. I would love to have you on. Like I said, you're more steeped in the bourbon and rum tradition than I am, and just have you on just to kind of talk about some pairings and whatnot. So I feel like you would know a lot more about that than I would.
Dude, I would love to do that. And I've got a cool idea how we'll do it. So,
All
yeah,
right, well,
That
we could
sounds
talk about
awesome.
it. So
Most
absolutely.
definitely.
so
Most definitely.
did we want to wrap up for tonight?
Absolutely. Well, again, DJ, thank you so much for coming on and sharing these sticks with us. Have you got any final thoughts or on the
Um,
cigar or in general?
this absolutely amazing stick. I'm really, really glad it held up. I'm glad that this aging went phenomenally well. Um, I'm going to give you two quotes from one is from Jose Blanco, who now works with Arturo Fuente in Europe. Um,
Hmm.
he was he was hosting a tasting event in Tom's River, and he was talking about what can affect a cigar. And the one thing he said will affect the cigar most is smoking next to an asshole. So always make sure you're in good company when you smoke. And then
Always.
I'll probably give you guys the quote from Mo from Tatuaje because it perfectly sums up things. They're meant to be smoked. So yes,
Hmm.
age them, but at the end of the day, they are meant to be smoked and share the leaf. So
Don't hold them as trophies.
don't hold them as trophies for yourself or other people. Rob had talked about, wanting to do something on aged cigars. So I rummaged through my humidor and I found some stuff that we could all share and smoke together. So I appreciate you guys having me on. This was awesome.
Most definitely. So, Rob, what have you got for in closing?
Uh, you know, it's been a little bit of a rough week, so uh, I just love to give a shout out to my brothers in the cigar community. I appreciate, it's been such an amazing ride for this last year. Um, there's a lot to look forward to. Like, I'm going to PCA for the first time, so like I'm really looking forward to kind of get my feet wet and really get FaceTime with these owners and these the guys who put boots on the ground to give us these
Mhm.
these fantastic sticks. Um,
Most
I'm
definitely.
gonna get to be able to meet some of these people who I've only talked to on the internet and it's just thank you for everybody that I've reached out to that have sent me things and I've sent things back. And, thank you for being so generous. Um, it truly is one of the most amazing, amazing communities I've ever been a part of, honestly. So I want to, thank you guys for, the love and you know, and it's all reciprocated. You know, I'm truly blown away by the generosity and the kindness of people when you really get to sit down. One of the shows we're going to come up with in the future is the psychology of cigars, and you really get to sit next to a person. You really get to know a person when you sit down over a cigar and you just chew the fat and just really get to know somebody over cigars. So um, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure spending time with you tonight just to kind of relax and hang out, talk about aging, smoke these amazing 10-year-old cigars um, from John Huber and Crown Heads. Um, it's fantastic. So thank you so much.
Absolutely, man. This was awesome.
Well, and again, I just appreciate both of you guys and the real conversations that we're having, just beyond the cigar smoke. Um I want to throw a shout out to a couple of our podcast brothers, the guys over at the Leaf Cutters, Ben, Andy, Grim, Zach. Uh um I'm probably forgetting somebody, but and both of our brothers, Sean and Justin, over at Smoking Sounds.
Smoking sounds.
Yeah, and Jason over at the Dram Amateur Podcast. He's
Mm.
um, and also just from the Instagram cigar community, Cigars with Angel. He pubs us all the time, and I couldn't be more thankful for the support of you know all these guys and other content creators. And just in closing, I
Our
hope
sponsors,
everybody.
don't forget our sponsors too.
Oh,
Thank you to our
most definitely.
thank you to our two sponsors. Who
Yeah.
really have kind of just uh, put their faith in us to kind of just rep them and get the word out to the community how good their products are. Bullets and Brave
Yes.
with their stands and the amazing work that he does, as well as the guys over at Valor Cigar Accessories. Check them out. Stuff that they
Yes.
sell is for a good cause. Um, it's
Most
it's like I said,
definitely.
it's just a great cause. It's just a great community.
That's for sure. And check with Valor Cigars. You might get free shipping
Oh yeah, free shipping
on
this
your
weekend until
orders.
Monday. Yeah.
So and
Nice.
so I just hope everybody wins the battles that you tell nobody about.
Mm. So remember, guys, I'm Rob. This is Al, and down there, that's DJ. Remember, always live the lounge life. Peace, guys.